in total.
Yesterday, we received a shocking news that the members of Tinubu's cabinet are the financiers and sponsors of the insecurity. As Adija Bashir was caught pants down yesterday, Adija Bashir was caught in the act of running guns for bandits. And this is a man who has worked with Matawale, the current Minister of Defense in Nigeria. Mr. Chinedu, do you think this insecurity will ever end? And what is Tinubu's stance in this insecurity?
What it means is that it was in his cabinet, and before he even became the president of Nigeria, you see that source, has already been published all over the world. There are people who are sponsoring these bandits, this Boko Haram, these Fulani herdsmen, and they are Nigerian politicians. Remember, one too was also mentioned. Apart from this Bashiri, Hadija, they are talking about. There was other one now. The Saudi Arabian government also published names of those who were, and up to today, nothing has been done. No arrest was done in that regard. But presently now, it is a serious damage. It calls for investigation. It calls for a thorough check by civil society organization, all groups that are concerned with the revelation. Of course, the international community, the Americans and all of them should come in and look into these issues, because it is either they call for the resignation. It has been going on somehow about this particular figure that is Matawale, who is the chief of minister of defense. There has been already people has been accusing him. And remember, some time ago there was a massive report by his own people, speculating or saying that he is one of the people, federal government should call and interrogate on his activities with herdsmen. But this, you can see the revelation now, quite overwhelming, quite sad, in the history of this country, that somebody like that who is being seen with former leaders of this country, with former presidents of this country, is being using that umbrella, to perpetuate, a serious crime, by powering and sponsoring the what is happening, the killings that is happening in the north. And I can tell you categorically that over 1 million people has lost their life in the northern part of the country, courtesy of Nigerian politicians who are bent on using such calamity, to benefit and advance a certain agenda. One, Nigerians must understand this, that either they are advancing an agenda, I keep on saying it, making money from it at the same time, and keep those bandits, on. Because if there is no funding for this kind of people, bandits that's going on in the north, I think by now it should have been checked. Are you trying to tell me that the federal government themselves, cannot be able to defeat Boko Haram? Something is wrong somewhere, and you can see that it has already been linked with Tinubu. Has been alleged that the Minister of Defense, Matawale, is also involved, and people who are close to him are also involved, like this Bashir, Hadija, they are talking about now. How are we going to look that? Is it because he's just connected to the government, or government has something that they are sharing that Nigeria doesn't want to know? Why Boko Haram issue, the killings in the north, cannot be stopped?
Mr. Chinedu, it seems you don't know the gravity of this guy called Adija Bashir. He is a close ally with the Secretary of the Government. He is a close ally to the Chief of Staff. Mr. Chinedu, is Nigeria not a deep problem if the terrorists can be this close to the presidency?
Nigeria is already in the problem. What tells you now is that they do not, the security agencies do not act based on what the law says they should do. They act based on instructions. They don't act based on the law. They have shown they are not independent. They are being controlled. The FCC is being controlled. The Nigerian police force is being controlled. The army is being controlled based on interest. If they are not controlled, why we up to this moment they have not been able to expose calamity that is happening in the north? People are losing their lives on a daily basis while they are advancing too. You can see how they continue to hit targets in different northern parts of the country, even in southwest, even in some states in the east, trying to penetrate and cause so many havoc. And that was what led to what we're having today. A certain speaker, Tajuddin Abbas, came out just overnight and announced that horrific bill, saying that nobody should say anything, Nigeria should be held hostage, and it's a right, and all that. Until people begin to see the reactions and we're able to back down at the end of the day. So I think Tinubu, where Nigerians are going to live with the consequences of Muslim ticket at the end of the day.
Finally, Mr. Chinedu, this same Adija has made a lot of confessions which are indicting. He said he has worked with so many politicians to blackmail innocent people, even including Mazi Nnamdi Kanu.
Of course, now I said this some time ago that what is keeping Nnamdi Kanu is not the law. If it is the law, Nnamdi Kanu wouldn't have been where he is today. What is keeping Nnamdi Kanu is interest. What is keeping Nnamdi Kanu is agenda. What is keeping Nnamdi Kanu in Jesus custody, is what they see Nnamdi Kanu as an obstacle to what they want to do. But already the understanding and the consciousness Nnamdi Kanu has imparted to several ethnic nationalities in Nigeria. The Hausas are also building, trying to make sure that they do not, they make sure they checkmate the excesses of the Fulanis, who has come in as governors, who has come in as emirs, who has come in as soldiers, who has come in as police, trying to make sure that the indigenous people of the north, talking about the Hausas, are being held down completely. So when we are talking about Muslim ticket, in a secular society like Nigeria, this is what we are experiencing, because at the end of the day, they'll be able to cover for all those, or even though some of them that are in the Senate, what are they advocating? What are they legislating? They are all legislating how Nigeria would totally, break into the Islamic religion at the end of the day. That's what they are talking about. That's what they are doing. So it's becoming clear. So they see Biafra as an obstacle. So even the continuous detention of Nnamdi Kanu, which is being seen as illegal, even though the court has granted him bail, but they try to release him, means that the law does not work in Nigeria. What works in Nigeria is interest. So it's going to be something that has to do with politics. It has gone to that dimension, and not only that, it has to do with an agenda. And what is the agenda? There is a grand plan that Nnamdi Kanu is always seen as a threat, and that grand plan is the Islamization agenda, and which is trying to see how it can play out at the end of the day. You can see the rat race bill, they are trying to smuggle at every point in time. Look at the Ruga, look at so many of them like that, that is anti-people, that is purely a Sharia oriented, So they see Igbos, they see Biafrans as a major obstacle, and anything they can do, to silence them is what is going to be very, 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 very impossible. Even if they go through the legal process, like they want to, we saw the speaker that wanted to engage himself on, I think it was dead on arrival, and that's the consequences of it, of having Muslim ticket. Because when Nigerians say Muslim ticket is a threat, people should understand the direction they are going at the end of the day. I expected by now, if that bill were allowed, to be in place, of course, by now, I would have seen a lot of people hand being chopped off, a lot of restriction being made, even social media shut down. Everybody will now have a one law, one order at the end of the day. Unfortunately, Nigerians stood against it, and that bill was dead on arrival. So the Bola Ahmed Tinubu, if care is not taken, I'm sure he is listening and is understanding, the dimensions, the calculated attempt, the navigation of trying to, move Nigeria from where it is as a secular nation, to where it will begin to understand and advance. That's how it always started. And before you know it, Turkey lost his Turkey as a nation, as a Christian nation, locks its brand as a Christian nation. Now Turkey is an Islamic nation. It started like this, you know. But the only resistance they will continue to have at the end of the day is some people like Simon Ekpa, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. It might not be the West, the Yorubas might not be too much seeing it as a crime because of they have almost two religion, you know, Christian and Muslim. But in Biafra land, it is extremely, you know, Christianity, and anything that can be seen as a threat to Christianity, you know, will not be allowed to stand, or Nigeria will boil.
Thank you very much for that wonderful and brilliant submission.